Okay, my goal today is to give you a learnable, teachable, even duplicatable way of approaching whatever it is you may be facing as a new administrator. So, what I've kind of used to help me get off to a good start is this little bridge concept of how you get from where you are to where you want to be. Now, as we build this bridge, the whole point of this is that it's a leadership model based on servant-based leadership, and it's also based on gap analysis. And so, if what you're doing doesn't take you from where you are over here to where you want to be over here, then it's really irrelevant. And so everything we're going to do is going to be focused on just that gap. And so the actions that we take to get somebody from where they are to where they want to be is going to be the entire focus of this. But the actions themselves are actually supported. The actions themselves are actually supported by these three pillars that you're seeing here, here, and here. And this is what we call the ABCs of servant-based educational leadership. And so I'm going to go through with you real quick what those are. First of all, as we do this, I do want to make sure that you're aware that the actions that we're talking about, we want to be as the best return on investment that we possibly can get, so that whatever efforts we do gets the maximum impact. And so there's a rule that basically says that bad is 5 times as powerful as good. All right, this is a lot has been written on this by a guy named Robert L. Sutton, and he we'll talk about that in more detail. But bad is 5 times as powerful as good, and so that if I want to have the maximum impact with something that I choose to do, I can have more impact by eliminating something bad from the equation than I can by introducing something good to the equation. So if I want to have the maximum return on an investment, then eliminating the negatives from whatever it is that we're trying to do helps me get there the quickest. So I'm always going to be sensitive to that. The other thing I want to be sensitive to is these 3 pillars, and that's what I told you we'd go through this, the ABCs of this. This first pillar is A for accountability. The second pillar is B for belonging or brotherhood, and the third pillar is the 2 C's, the matching kind of yin and yang, so to speak, of this, which is competitive advantage and culture. And we'll go through each one of them real quick. The A is accountability. Now, what I want to make sure that we realize is that accountability is something that we do for somebody, not something that we do to somebody. And so all accountability is that we're willing to be held to account for our actions. So it's basically old school leadership style where we just are good managers. And the thing that has shown to work the most is that basically managed by activity and not the end result. And so this is going back to this road that we're traveling here. This is the actions that we're going to take. What do we, whoever it is we're trying to work with, what do we agree is going to be the actions that if we take these actions, it'll get us where we want to go. And so once we agree that what those actions are, that's where the A comes in. I have agreed I'm going to do this. You've agreed you're going to do this. And the two of us, we're going to hold each other accountable to doing the things that we know will get us where we want to be. And so that's where the A comes from. The B is belonging or brotherhood. And this just really comes down to, it doesn't matter what the plan is you have or how good the ideas are, it will fall apart if the people that you're working with do not feel valued, if they do not feel like you respect what happened in the organization before you came on board with it. And so that's where this middle pillar comes from that helps hold all this up, is the belonging or brotherhood, or the sense that somebody is valued, they're respected, that you recognize what they bring to the table. And then the 2 C's, competitive advantage or culture. And another way of thinking about that might be competitive advantage is simply innovation, looking for ways to doing things differently. And culture, a simple definition of that would be more like how we do things here. So a culture of doing things here in a way that leads to high execution. So innovation matched with great execution. That is where the 2 C's come from. And so regardless of what the actions are that take us from where we are to where we want to be, those actions are going to fail if they're not paired up with accountability. Everybody publicly saying, here's what I'm going to do and here's what you're going to do. Everybody involved on the team doesn't feel, they need to feel like they're valued, they have a role, they see how they contribute, that is respected. And then the C's that not only we're going to do things differently, and are we going to be able to think outside the box to come up with solutions, but we're going to do it in a way that brings about great execution. So this is what I'm going to go through with a little more detail with you today, and I hope that it helps you get off to a great start. Thank you.